Hey guys, we'll talk about ribs for just a second. The ribs that I'm cooking today, they've been on since about a little after 9 o'clock, so they've been on about 3 hours and 15-20 minutes. At about that 3 hour mark, you want to check your ribs because unlike with the pork butt or with the brisket or some other piece of meat where you can inject a thermometer in it to see what the temperature is, it's kind of tough to do that with ribs. You really go more by feel and by look. And so I've already pulled these ribs off, and I want to show you what we look for. We look for a couple things with the ribs. One is you can see here, hopefully you can see here, that the meat is starting to pull away from the bone a little bit. You can see the rib tips exposed just a little bit. I'm going to set it here on this as well, and hopefully maybe you can see just briefly the rib tips are starting to kind of poke their way out. So that's one sign that tells you that maybe they're ready for this next step. The other sign is what I call the flop test, and that's basically you grab the rib on one end and you just hold it straight out. And when it starts to bend like that, you're holding it on one end and it starts to bend over like that, then you know that it's probably pretty much ready for this next step. So I'll take my glove off. So here's what the next step is that I do to help ensure a really good, juicy, flavorful rib. I've got about a quarter cup of brown sugar here, and I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to put it over the rib like so. So you can see, I'm just going to crumble it up a little bit, kind of scatter it a little bit. Just want to make sure it gets kind of over all the rib. It doesn't have to be ground up too fine or anything, but just want to put it all over there the best I can. So you can see that on the rib. Then the second thing I do then is I've got my homemade barbecue sauce here, and so I take a little bit of barbecue sauce and I just start to drizzle back and forth over the rib. And hopefully you can see that. I think you probably can. So I'm just putting sauce on it, drizzling it over here. Maybe get a little bit extra sauce because again, it kind of helps to steam it while the sauce is in there. Man, that looks good. Okay, and so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that rib, I'm going to wrap it up in that aluminum foil. And I'm actually going to double wrap it, so I'm going to wrap it once, and then I'm going to take another piece of aluminum foil and place that rib inside of that and wrap it again. And then those ribs are going to go back on the smoker. So they're not going to get any smoke, but they're going to get heat. And the heat and the combination of the rib and the juice from the barbecue sauce and everything that's inside that full packet is going to finish cooking those ribs completely, but it's going to give them a good steam bath. It's going to get them good and juicy and moist and tender, and then they're going to be ready to pull off probably maybe about two hours from now, 2.5 hours from now. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get those on the smoker, and then we're going back outside and we're going to talk about the pork butt for just a second. Thanks.